On? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Tathastu-ICS. I hope my voice is clear to the online students. Please check, everybody, if the voice is clear. Right. So today we will continue with our science and tech current affairs sessions. Yesterday we understood biotechnology. The handout has already been shared on the groups. Today we are going to continue with the diseases and health. So certain different kinds of diseases are being asked in the UPSC examination in the prelims. So the diseases that have been there with respect to WHO, with respect to Indian government, that have been eliminated or that have been asked in the news or that have been referred in the news, that we are going to understand in this session. So without wasting much time, let's begin. Few little things that you should be knowing, you should be noting before we begin. When we talk about diseases, any kind of disease, whether that disease you find them in this handout or not, whenever you are covering this topic of diseases, please remember that any disease you need to know its causing agent. You should be remembering its causing agent. Second, its symptoms. Third, its cure. Yeah, prevention. These are the three things that you should be knowing for any disease that you come across from any source, whether newspaper, class, magazines, anywhere. Three things about disease that you should be keeping in mind. That first, what is causing that disease, whether it is a viral, bacterial, protozoan, parasitic, any kind of disease. One. Second, sometimes in the PYQs we also come to know that there are certain viral diseases जिसपे एक ही disease जैसे dengue है या malaria है या we have TB, the questions on such diseases have been asked repetitively. Therefore, what we see is that in such cases the nature of question changes from disease to the causing agent. कि causing agent का nature it tries to understand कि whether what is the genetic material, what is the genetic material of the pathogen, what is the incubation time of the pathogen. So such kind of information you should be knowing with respect to the in which kind of environment will it, environmental conditions, which allows incubation, okay, environmental condition in which the pathogen will grow. So such kind of information you should be remembering about the causing agent. What do we mean by incubation time? Incubation time is the time required to lay the eggs and reproduce, complete its reproductive cycle. So how much time does it take for the pathogen to complete its life cycle? That is one. Second, how much time does the pathogen take inside the body, inside the human body, to show its symptoms? So both ways. So how much time is the pathogen going to take? How much time is the pathogen going to take inside the body to show its symptoms and complete the life cycle? That time period, that duration is known as incubation period. ठीक? One. Then we come to symptoms. Symptoms is for most of the diseases, the symptoms remain constant. There is headache, there is fever, there is vomiting, there is nausea, there is dizziness, there is loss of appetite. All these things remain constant for everything. Cure and prevention. Here the questions are focused on vaccines. Whether are there any available vaccines against the diseases or not? One. Second thing is that when we talk about vaccines, the question changes from the disease to the vaccine, and then they ask the nature of vaccine. So when we talk about nature of vaccine, what we are trying to emphasize on is that how So there are sometimes known as weak and attenuated pathogen is used. Sometimes dead pathogen is used. Sometimes अपना subunit of pathogen is used, or sometimes genetic material of the pathogen is used. So we have different scenarios for making the vaccines based on what are we using to form the vaccine. Based on that, there are different types of vaccines, starting from genetic material, then live but attenuated, live but weak, or dead, or any component of the pathogen is used. So these are the 4 different ways by which we can make a vaccine. So what is the nature of the vaccine that is used to prevent the disease? That is what the question can be focused on. So one thing that you need to remember is about diseases. Second thing that you need to understand about diseases is there are different types of diseases that are there in the news. For every disease that is there, you should be knowing few things. First, whether when I talk about types of diseases, what am I focusing on is that whether the disease is zoonotic or not. Whether the disease is zoonotic or not. What do we mean by zoonotic? Zoonotic simply means that whether it can be transferred from animals to humans. The second thing that we need to focus on is whether the disease is non-communicable or not. That means whether the disease can be spread through aerial means or not. Then third that you need to understand is whether the disease is considered as neglected tropical disease or not, NTD. What do we mean by neglected tropical disease? Any disease that is there in poor regions, in poor vulnerable regions, and in tropical regions. Tropical regions from 30° north to 30° south. In such regions, due to heavy rainfall and high temperature, it becomes very ambient conditions for the pathogens to grow. And in such cases, when the pathogens grow, in such countries or in such regions, what we observe is that many poor countries also exist. So tropical regions, ambient conditions for the growth of pathogens, plus poor countries. So such poor countries ignore the spreading of disease. Hence, such diseases are considered as neglected tropical diseases. So you need to understand any disease that you come across in your current affairs, whether that disease is an NTD or not, neglected tropical disease or not. And finally, whether the disease is considered to be a rare disease or not. Whether the disease is considered to be a rare disease or not, that means is the disease being curable? Can the disease be curable in about 1 of 1,000 patients? So every 1,000 patients, if more than 1 patient can be cured, then it is not considered as a rare disease. Again, if in 1,000 patients of a disease, more than 1 patient is being able to cure successfully, then such a disease is not considered to be a rare disease. If less than 1 patient is being cured, then we consider it to be a rare disease. So these are the 4 different types of diseases that you need to keep in mind, that any disease that you come across for your own preparation, even after this session, any disease that you come across, whether it is a zoonotic, rare disease, or neglected NTD, or a non-communicable disease or not. तो ये 2 चीजें आपको पता होनी चाहिए. एक disease होता किस वजह से, causing agent, उसका सिम्टम और उसका क्योर, और दूसरा वो डिजीज का नेचर क्या है, उन चारों में से वो किस किस कैटेगरी में फॉल कर सकता है, ठीक। सो दैट इज वन थिंग दैट यू नीड टू कीप इन माइंड. Neglected tropical disease is nothing but any disease that is found. So for example, as simple as let's say chicken pox, yeah, as simple as let's say malaria. Such diseases are prevalent in tropical regions of the world. Tropical regions of the world, 30 degree north से लेकर 30 degree south. What happens in these regions? There is high insolation, there is high incoming sunlight, so there is high temperature, and there is also high rainfall. So in the presence of moisture and temperature, that it becomes easier for the pathogens to grow. Since it becomes easier for the pathogens to grow, therefore tropical regions are considered to be prone for higher diseases. Now, once they are prone for higher diseases, if the country is poor and is not able to give significant attention or emphasis to the disease, then such country is going to ignore and is going to focus on other things and is going to neglect the significance of the disease. Hence we consider that any disease that is there in tropical regions and can be easily spread but the government is ignoring, then such disease is considered to be NTD, that is neglected tropical disease. Now that is the few basic points that I wanted you to keep in mind while taking the current affairs classes or while revising your own current affairs. इसके बाद we are not going to study anything, we are just going to go through those articles that are there in the news for past 1 year related to diseases and health. अब start करते हैं first article से, that is about rabies. Recently we have seen that even the Supreme Court has also passed an order in which the Supreme Court has said that all the stray dogs that are there, they should be either captured or neutered and only then they should be released, and the people, the residential people should not be feeding such street dogs or such stray dogs unnecessarily, which is going to increase their population. So in that background there is also the point that such stray dogs in areas where the population of stray dogs are very high, what we observe is that there is increasing evidences of rabies diseases that have also been there, because such street dogs bite the pedestrians that are there who are then getting infected by rabies virus. Now, so now the article says that a recent study under One Health framework, the recent study under One Health framework has once again highlighted the severity of rabies in India. Despite being completely preventable, India accounts for nearly 1/3 of global rabies deaths. So therefore, since the number of diseases are more, therefore it becomes very important for India to take care that why rabies or what are the steps taken by the government in case of preventing rabies disease. Before we move ahead, One Health framework becomes important. What is One Health framework? In which what we say is that there should be healthy environment, healthy animals and healthy humans. All the three components should be taken together, and all the three components, that is environment, basically the floral part, the plant part, the animals and humans, all the three should be kept together in order to keep them healthy, so that the entire nation will remain healthy. So under One Health approach, this One Health approach was given by WHO. So under One Health approach, the study says that there is severe increase in rabies in India. Now, just a little statistics, that of 59,000 rabies deaths reported worldwide, nearly 20,000 have occurred in India. That is from 60,000, out of 60,000 about 20,000 is there, so that means 1/3 have been in India, making the country with the highest burden of rabies deaths. Rabies is considered to be endemic in India. rabies remains endemic in India. Yes, what do we mean by an endemic disease? What is an endemic disease? That means the origin is in a particular country and the number of diseases, the spread of disease is limited to a particular region. It has not been spread to worldwide. So it has not become pandemic. It has not become pandemic or epidemic. It is still endemic. That means it is restricted in a particular region. Now, the next is role of free roaming dogs. As we all know, the more number of dogs that are there, stray dogs that are there, the more chances of spreading of rabies diseases. Rabies as a disease of poverty. The disease disproportionately affects poor and marginalized communities who live in areas with large stray dog population. So that simply means that ki jitna zyada stray dog, again all of them are emphasizing on the same fact कि जितना ज़्यादा stray dog होगा उतना ज़्यादा chances आपका बढ़ेगा towards rabies. Now the problem is that there is one component, rabies immunoglobulin. This is one of the medicine, or this is one of the medicinal component which is used to treat the rabies. This is one of the medicinal component which is used to treat the rabies. Ab unavailability or less availability of such components will result. Deaths are not due to lack of scientific knowledge, but result from delayed medical intervention, incomplete vaccine schedules, and limited availability of RIG. What is RIG? Rabies immunoglobulin. कि the essential component that is there for curing the disease, अगर वही नहीं होगा या उसकी production नहीं होगी तो फिर rabies की deaths automatically बढ़ जाएगी. So now the question for you to understand is that spreading of rabies, is it dependent upon the population of the stray dogs, or is it also dependent upon unavailability of the treatment? So both has to play an equal role. Yes, there is a component of population of stray dogs, but at the same time we also consider that unavailability of the crucial medical component, that is RIG, is also responsible for increasing the deaths due to rabies. More than 20% of dog bite victims do not receive any anti-rabies vaccine. So delayed medical intervention is also going to result in increase in deaths due to rabies. Shortage of RIG, that we have already understood, that is critical life-saving component, remains scarce, and it is also expensive, that is 5 to 20,000 rupees. That means it becomes non-affordable. So always remember that there are three words that you should be remembering for increasing, or that is 3 A's. What are 3 A's? Affordable, available, and accessible. So you should always, for any scheme, policy, for any as an administrator and as also a good candidate, you can add these 3 points for any scheme or policy which has to be implemented at the grassroots level, that there should be 3 A's. The vaccination of the scheme should be affordable, it should be available, and it should be accessible. So since the treatment becomes expensive, it becomes not affordable. Since the treatment, there is lack of medical treatment, therefore it is not available. So lack of availability, lack of affordability increases the number of deaths due to rabies. Children are at a higher risk because 40% of rabies cases occur in children below 15 years, क्योंकि वो सबसे ज़्यादा कुत्तों से कटेंगे. Now there is something known as dog population control challenges. There is in 2024, Government of India had launched, there is something known as ABC rules. So anti-birth control rules were framed, in which the stray dogs will be neutered, the male and female dogs will be neutered, and they will be biologically prevented from having sexual intercourse and reproducing new offsprings. Therefore, that is one of the ways to control the population of stray dogs. So that is under anti-birth control rules published in 2024 by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. By Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The study also says that the human rabies deaths are entirely avoidable and ongoing fatalities reflect systemic shortcomings in public health delivery rather than scientific constraints. So it is basically lack of political will. Lack of political will, and another word is lack of bureaucratic empathy and lack of political will, both of which are together responsible for prevalence of rabies death. Key facts आपको मालूम है कि the virus is transmitted from the saliva of the dogs. Once they bite, that saliva enters the blood. Once the fluids between the dog and the human mixes, the virus enters the human body and it is going to affect the body. It is going to have some symptoms. What are the symptoms? So there can be fatalities also. What we see is that thorough washing of the wound with soap and vaccine injections can avoid symptoms and save lives. Seek immediate medical intervention is important in order to reduce the fatalities. Please understand, rabies is a disease which can cause deaths. It is not any casual disease from which no fatalities can occur. Since fatalities can occur, therefore it becomes essential for having quicker medical intervention. Vaccinating dogs saves human lives. Yes. So if the dogs are either neutered or they are vaccinated, that can also help in preventing the spreading of diseases. Cause. So there is something known as, what you should be remembering is that rabies is a viral disease. It is caused by rabies virus. It is a neurotropic virus. Neurotropic means that it is going to affect the nervous system. It belongs to Lysa virus genus of Rhabdoviridae family. Now, obviously the name becomes difficult, but what you need to remember is that this is a retrovirus. These are considered to be retrovirus. Primarily, viruses can be classified into two ways. What are the two ways? Either a virus is considered as a retrovirus, or the virus is considered as an adenovirus. If the genetic material that the virus has is RNA, R से RNA, R से retrovirus. If the genetic material of the virus is considered to be DNA, D से DNA, D से adenovirus. So if I say the rabies virus is a retrovirus, that means the rabies virus है उसका genetic material RNA है, and it is not a double stranded DNA, it is a single stranded RNA which is there encoded in a protein. So that is the point that you need to remember, that rabies virus is a retrovirus and it is going to have so the idea is that virus will require human body virus will require the human body for multiplication. So only once it enters the human blood, then only it is able to reproduce. Global burden. Diseases results in about this ये हमने देखा है कि deaths हो जाती है. Now rabies is a viral zoonotic and entity. Why it is considered as an entity? Because as we have already seen that it is affecting the poor population of the country. That means the disease can be prevented, but it is not prevented. The disease has been neglected by the government, by the state. Hence it is considered to be as entity. Moving ahead, dogs are responsible for nearly 99% of the human rabies cases. ये सब हम पढ़ चुके हैं. Transmission is through saliva, through bites. That is also we have understood. Prevention. Rabies deaths are fully preventable if timely pro-exposure prophylaxis has been provided. That simply means medical intervention should be given. This includes immediate washing of wounds with soap and water for at least 15 minutes and administration of rabies immunoglobulin, that is the medical medicine that is going to neutralize the virus inside the body. Symptoms. Incubation period of the disease typically ranges from 2 to 3 months. यानी जो सिम्टम आएगा ह्यूमन बॉडी में वो पूरा लाइफ साइकिल कंप्लीट होने के बाद उसमें 2 से 3 महीने लग जाएंगे. कुत्ते ने काटा आज है लेकिन 2 महीने बाद पता चलेगा कि हाँ कुत्ते ने काटा था, ऐसा तो है नहीं. तो सिम्टम जो है 2 महीने बाद आएगा. Therefore what you need to do is the bite should be immediately washed away. There should be immediate medical intervention be given and you should not be waiting for symptoms, because rabies presents 2 forms. Furious rabies marked by hydrophobia, जिसमें आपको पानी से डर लगने शुरू हो जाता है, agitation and rapid deterioration, and paralytic rabies जिसमें आपका बॉडी का नर्वस सिस्टम जो है वो प्रोग्रेसिव पैरालिसिस, नर्वस सिस्टम जो है वो अफेक्ट हो जाता है. वन सिम्टम्स मैनिफेस्ट, अगर आपने 2 से 3 महीने का वेट किया और सिम्टम्स को आने दिया, द डिजीज इज नियरली फेटल, उसके बाद कोई क्योर नहीं है, उसके बाद सीधा मौत है. तो दैट इज व्हाई वी से दैट डिजीज शुड बी इमीडिएटली हैव मेडिकल इंटरवेंशन. ठीक है, सो दैट इज अबाउट दिस rabies disease. So with this we have also got you one there is this one global target that you should be remembering, that is WHO and its partners aim to eliminate human deaths from dog mediated rabies by 2030 under one health approach integrating human, animal and community health measures. So 2030 is the target year for eliminating rabies from the globally. Now for this we also have got one practice question. It says that with reference to rabies, consider the following statements. Rabies becomes almost invariably fatal once clinical symptoms appear. So as soon as the symptoms appear, the rabies becomes fatal. This becomes correct. Human to human transmission of rabies through casual contact has been well documented in endemic countries. Human to human nahi hai, it is a zoonotic disease. It can only happen through animals to humans. Therefore it is not a communicable disease, it is a non-communicable disease, but it is an entity. So that way this second statement is wrong. Mass vaccination of dogs is considered more effective than large scale culling and preventing human rabies cases. Yes, instead of taking away the dogs, it is better to vaccinate dogs and let them be there in the society. So that way rabies cases will decrease. So 1 and 3 both are correct. Which of the statements are correct? A, 1 and 3 is the right answer. Okay? So that is the nature that I am trying to explain you, that you should be understanding the nature of the disease, you should be understanding the cure of the disease, you should be understanding the symptom of the disease. Next article is talking about India's 2030 malarial elimination target faces new challenges. Rabies as a virus is present inside the dogs, but dogs themselves are immune from the virus. What is happening is that they are host of the, so like the mosquito is carrying the malarial parasite or the dengue virus, but the mosquito itself is not affected from the virus. It is a carrier, it is a host, it is a vector. Similarly, dogs are also themselves the vectors but are spreading to the humans. Dogs will always carry rabies. After vaccination, the dogs may the vaccination helps in not carrying the rabies virus. So what happens is that if the dog is already vaccinated, that means the dog's body will be able to kill the rabies virus, and even if the dog bites, still rabies will not be transferred because there is no rabies present inside the dog. But if the dogs are not vaccinated, that means the virus will be continuing in the dog's body, not harming the dog, but is going to carry as host and is going to transfer to the humans. Is rabies curable? Rabies can be curable, but as soon as only in the initial stages. As it says, the rabies is a fatal disease. So as soon as the symptoms appear, that means the virus has spread to such an extent that it cannot be cured after the symptoms have been expressed. But as soon as the dog bite has been there, if you immediately go for medical intervention, you clean the wound with soap, you wash away all the pathogens that are there, then there are high chances of survival. Rabies as a disease is incurable is a false statement. It is curable in initial days, in initial stages. If the statement says rabies is an incurable disease, this is a false statement. This is an incorrect statement. Next is about malaria elimination. So Government of India, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare have already set a target that by 2030 we will eliminate malaria from India. We all know that there has been an obstacle, there has been a hindrance in achieving this target because there has been the vaccination related to malaria has not been completed. Not everyone in India, not all the targets of children between the age of 0 to 8 have been vaccinated. What is the name of the policy or what is the name of the scheme which is responsible for administering vaccination in India? Universal Immunization Program is under Mission Indradhanush. Mission Indradhanush. So under Mission Indradhanush, children between the age of 0 to 8 should be vaccinated. 90% of children between the 0 to 8 should be vaccinated, but for different 12 vaccine preventable diseases, malaria is one of them. But in case of malaria, this 90% target has not been achieved, and hence we say that the elimination of malaria from India is going to face certain new challenges. Universal Immunization Program, UIP. Universal Immunization Program. Now, what it says is that India has achieved significant progress in reducing malarial cases, but the target of eliminating malaria has yet to be achieved. So, Government of India has set clear targets: eliminate local transmission of malaria by 2027 and achieve complete malaria free status by 2030. So, what does local transmission mean? Eliminate local transmission of malaria by 2027, that within India, domestically, within India, there should be no domestic cases. There should be no domestic cases, and in the remaining second phase, there should be no international patient coming to India. So, Indians should not be able to catch malarial disease from the foreigners also, and locally also there should be no one who is alive with malarial infection. So, local malarial elimination by 2027 and complete India nationwide by 2030. The idea is not to stop taking in patients. The idea is that such patients should be quarantined and not allowed to be mingled with the society until unless the malarial disease has been cured. That is the idea, that from any patient henceforth the cause of spreading should not be existing. However, the emergence of mosquito species that adapts well to urban settings has made these things complicated. Even though you may have imposed restrictions on outsiders coming, or outsiders or any patients who are already affected by malaria, but still the malaria cases will rise, or you will not be able to eliminate malarial disease. Why? because of the carrier, because of the mosquito species which is acting as the carrier or the vector. Now, we all know that malaria, what is the nature of malarial disease? It is a parasitic disease. It is not a viral disease, it is not a bacterial disease, it is a parasitic disease. Which parasite? It is Plasmodium parasite. Now, there are different subspecies of Plasmodium. So, there are 5 species of this parasite. The most detrimental, the most dangerous of them, this name becomes important, that is Plasmodium falciparum, and the most prevalent in India is Plasmodium vivax. So, these two names become important and both names are different from each other. One is Plasmodium falciparum, which is the most dangerous species. That means there is more efficacy, there is more strongly, there are the chances of any person getting malarial disease gets drastically high if the person is bitten by a mosquito carrying Plasmodium falciparum. Or vivax में, vivax is considered as the most prevalent species in case of India. So ये दो species याद रखने हैं. Both these parasites are carried by a specific mosquito which is known as female Anopheles mosquito. Female Anopheles mosquito is only responsible for female Anopheles mosquito is responsible for spreading malarial disease. Only the female part is responsible, only the female mosquito is responsible and not the male, because the female mosquito requires what? Blood of humans. And why is this blood used? For laying of eggs. So there are certain proteins found in the human blood which help the female mosquito to lay her eggs. So that is why only female getting bitten by female mosquitoes only will make a person infected by malaria disease. One. Second, if the question says that malaria as a disease is spread only by female Anopheles mosquito, that is a correct statement. Malaria as a disease is spread by only female Anopheles mosquito is a correct statement. But if the statement is reversed, female Anopheles mosquito spreads only malarial disease, that is the wrong statement. So you need to keep in mind that female Anopheles mosquito can spread other diseases also. Female Anopheles mosquito has been known to spread malaria, has been known to spread chikungunya, has been also known to spread chickenpox, has been known to spread yellow fever. So there are several other diseases which can be spread by female Anopheles mosquito. What is unique is that the disease will be caused by one mosquito, but one mosquito can also cause multiple diseases. So that relationship you need to remember. One. Next that we are going to understand is, now if through vaccination, through medicines, through mosquito control population, we are able to eliminate the mosquitoes like female Anopheles mosquitoes, as a result, what happens is that if the population of female Anopheles reduces, they will not be able to carry the parasite. If they are not able to carry parasite, they will not be able to spread malaria. Problem is that there is a new species of mosquito that has evolved. A new species of mosquito that has evolved known as Anopheles stephensii. Now, the idea is that the questions that are asked in prelims is in the form of that the particular mosquito species has been in news. In what context? So such kind of questions are expected from these species, where a new species has been evolved, that is Anopheles stephensii, where they have particularly evolved to the urban conditions of India. They have learned to thrive in urban environments, reproduce in water storage containers, and standing fresh water present in any of the urban areas, such as coolers, such as tea plants, the pots of the plants, the construction areas, and all such areas. One. Second is, such mosquito species have not evolved in India. They have evolved elsewhere. They are not indigenous to India. They are indigenous to West Asia and East Africa, but they are also found in India. Evolution कहीं और हुआ है, लेकिन prevalent वो India में भी है, और India में they have been rising malarial cases. They have been responsible for rising malarial cases in cities like Delhi, Chennai, or Hyderabad. Now, what are the steps taken by the government in order to eliminate malaria? So there is something known as National Framework Malaria Elimination Program, which has been launched in 2016, which basically says that malaria shall be eliminated. It has put a deadline to eliminate malaria by 2030. Then there is MERA India program, in which there is Malaria Elimination Research Alliance. This is basically a common platform. This is going to give a common platform for researchers to come together and bring in new techniques to reduce the malarial cases. One way that I also want to share is, that has been already asked in previous year, is there is something known as Wolbachia method. Wolbachia method. Wolbachia is the name of a bacteria. Wolbachia is the name of a bacteria which is Wolbachia is the name of bacteria which is not harmful, to humans. Now, such mosquito species, the female mosquito species are infected. The female mosquito species are infected by Wolbachia bacteria. What happens is that whenever the female mosquito will get the Plasmodium parasite, and there is already Wolbachia bacteria inside the mosquito, that Wolbachia bacteria will kill the Plasmodium parasite. Okay? Yes, there was already a question on Wolbachia method. So it is basically what? That if the mosquito is already having Wolbachia bacteria, and then on later stage the mosquito gets the Plasmodium parasite, the Wolbachia bacteria is strong enough to kill the parasite. Now this mosquito, if it bites the humans, it will only send Wolbachia bacteria to the humans and not the parasite, and that Wolbachia bacteria is not harmful to the humans. Therefore, that way mosquitoes will not be carrying the Plasmodium parasite, and at the same time the mosquito species will also be continue to live. They will not be eliminated, but they will be restricting the spreading of parasite by infecting them with Wolbachia bacteria. So that is known as Wolbachia method. So that is there, that has been discovered, that has been not discovered, that has been invented by India in 2022, where under Malaria Elimination Research Alliance. So MERA India has been successful in developing Wolbachia method, where using this method, by infecting them with parasites, by infecting them with bacteria which are able to kill parasites, we can help in reducing the spreading of malarial disease. Now, reasons for continued transmission. We always know that there are many cross-border transmission. That means we have porous borders, people can easily come and go, enter the borders. Then there is inadequate sanitation and waste disposal, which is the breeding ground for such mosquitoes. Then there are asymptomatic carriers. Asymptomatic carriers means basically that individuals are already infected but they do not know, but they are helping in spreading the disease from one person to the other. So such are the examples of such are the challenges that will prevent the elimination of malaria from India by 2030. ठीक, तो इस न्यूज में जो आपको याद रखना है वो याद रखना है कि देयर इज अ न्यू स्पीशीज दैट इज देयर, दैट इज Anopheles stephensi, which has evolved not in India but outside, and has been able to withstand the urban conditions to reproduce and infect humans with malaria. ठीक, we have a practice question also for you. It says, with reference to malaria and India's elimination efforts, consider the following statements. Anopheles stephensi mosquito is native to India, primarily breeds in rural ponds and agricultural fields and has limited adaptability to urban environments. बिल्कुल ही गलत है. It is not native to India, it is breeding in urban ponds and it is extremely adaptable to urban environments. ठीक है. Under India's National Framework for Malaria Elimination Program, the target is to eliminate local malaria transmission by 2027 and complete malaria free status by 2030. This is the right statement. Which of the statements are correct? B, only 2 becomes the right answer. Only Anopheles mosquito is chalega because Anopheles does not represent the gender, Anopheles represent the species. तो species एक ही है जो मलेरिया को कॉज करता है, वो चलेगा. तो जरूरी है कि हर फीमेल को केक काटने से होगा, उसके अंदर प्लाज्मोडियम होना चाहिए तभी होगा, हर फीमेल मॉस्किटो के काटने से नहीं होगा. Next is about dengue. India. So abhi till now the important point is that globally we do not have a dengue vaccine. A very common point is, please remember, malaria was a parasitic disease. That means it was through a protozoa. You can make medicines which can kill the parasite. But dengue is a viral disease. Dengue being a viral disease, virus does not get easily killed by medicines because it is a non-living thing outside the body. It becomes living only when it enters the body. Therefore, there is no vaccine till date that has been created, that has been developed globally against dengue. India has been shown some achievement in creating dengue vaccines. So name of the dengue vaccine is Dengue All. The name of the dengue vaccine that India is developing is Dengue All. India has achieved 50% enrollment in phase 3 clinical trials of first indigenously developed tetravalent dengue vaccine, that is Dengue All. 50% एनरोलमेंट इन फेज 3 क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स का बेसिकली मतलब है कि वैक्सीन को जब आप ह्यूमंस के साथ क्लिनिकल ट्रायल पे लेके जाओगे साइड इफेक्ट्स चेक करने के लिए, उस पे 50% लोग भर्ती हो गए. पीपल हैव आल्सो शोन पॉजिटिव स्टेप्स टुवर्ड्स गिविंग दीस trials. That is not the news. The news is that there is development of the dengue vaccine, that is Dengue All. Now, Dengue All has been developed by, who is developing this vaccine? There is this company, that is Panacea Biotech Limited. This becomes important under the licensing arrangement of National Institute of Health. Vaccine contains, now as I have already told you, the vaccine can be of different types. It can be live vaccine, it can be dead vaccine, it can be subunit vaccine, it can be genetic vaccine. So this Dengue All is an example of a live attenuated weak form of vaccine. That means a live virus, an alive virus of dengue virus will be inserted in the body, but that virus will be such attenuated or will be weak in such a manner that it will not able to affect the human body. Now, डेंगू वायरस का कोई और नाम नहीं है. द नेम ऑफ द वायरस इज कंसिडर्ड एज डेंगू वायरस. ठीक है, So there are 4 species of dengue virus. So we say DENV 1 2 3 4. Okay. So there are 4 different species of dengue virus. The name of the virus is dengue virus. There is no other name given to dengue virus. Dengue virus is also retrovirus in nature. Is also retroviral in nature, and the idea is that this vaccine contains this forms of all 4 dengue virus serotypes. यानी ये वैक्सीन लेने से चारों स्पीशीज ऑफ डेंगू के अगेंस्ट आपको इम्यूनिटी क्रिएट करी जा सकती है. Its viral composition is similar to NIH developed formulation, differing only in the inactive components that does not matter. Phase 1 and 2 clinical trials conducted in India demonstrated strong and balanced immune response against all 4 dengue virus types. The vaccine also reported to be safe and well tolerated. इंडिया में कौन इसको फंड कर रहा है? ICMR is funding this program, that is Indian Council of Medical Research, and is going to study the vaccine's efficacy, immunogenicity and safety. Overall coordination is being done by National Institute of Translational Virology, AIDS Research Center formation, and which was formerly known as ICMR NARE. That is not important. Facts about dengue. We all know dengue is a viral infection. Dengue is a viral infection transmitted by mosquitoes. Now again we have mosquitoes spread across tropical and subtropical regions, and therefore it is also considered to be a NTD. 1. What is the name of the virus? It is the name of the virus dengue virus. What is the name of the mosquito that is spreading dengue virus? Female Aedes. Female Aedes mosquito. Again, the female part is responsible for spreading the disease. Again, for the same reason that the female part requires the proteins that are found inside the blood of the humans for laying her eggs. The disease spreads through, so they are to humans, spreads to humans through the bite of infected female Aedes mosquitoes carrying one of the 4 dengue virus serotypes. It does not spread directly from person to person except in case of transmission from pregnant woman to her child. वही एक तरीका है ट्रांसमिशन का. सिम्टम क्या होता है? कॉमन सिम्टम्स हाई फीवर, हेडेक, मसल, जॉइंट पेन, नोशिया, ये सब कुछ होता है. दैट वी हैव ऑलरेडी अंडरस्टूड. देयर इज आल्सो अ सिवियर फॉर्म if it is remained neglected for a long period of time. It can result in causing dengue, hemorrhage, fever. That means due to dengue virus, the dengue virus will attack and it will cause what? So it will cause clotting of blood inside the brain. Treatment, we all know, since it is a viral disease, viruses cannot be killed, they can only be, their efficiency can only be reduced, they cannot be killed. Therefore, there is no specific antiviral treatment for dengue. Management primarily focuses on relieving symptoms and supportive care. Gili patiyan or bar change, getting liquid diets, all such things will help in giving support to the body, which will help in faster curing. Recovery. The question for you is, with reference to dengue, consider the following statement. Dengue virus has 4 distinct serotypes, DNV 1, 2, 3, 4. Infection with one serotype provides lifelong immunity against all other serotypes. That is wrong. एक आपको चारों वायरस से इन्फेक्ट होना पड़ेगा, तभी आपको चारों वायरस से इम्यूनिटी मिलेगी. But the problem is not that. The problem is that you will not get lifelong immunity against the dengue virus. You may, one serotype may provide immunity against others. So please remember, we have already seen this also previously, that the vaccine also contains this form of virus against all 4 dengue virus serotypes. Its viral composition is similar to this. So the idea is that आपकी जो वैक्सीन है या जो आपको डेंगू इन्फेक्शन हो रहा है, any one of the dengue virus will get you infected. The body will create antibodies and will kill the virus, but it will also create immunity for all other types. All other 4 types के लिए immunity मिलेगा, लेकिन लाइफ लॉन्ग immunity मिलेगा ये नहीं है. Therefore this first statement becomes wrong. Dengue is transmitted primarily from Aedes mosquito and is most prevalent in tropical and subtropical regions that we have already seen. It is an NTD. Therefore, second statement is right. So, अब जो तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन है कि फीमेल है या नहीं है, तो the second statement says that the dengue is transmitted primarily by Aedes mosquito and is both. तो ये statement करेक्ट मानी जाएगी क्योंकि it is referring to the species and not to the gender. पूछो. Panacea, हाँ, yes. Panacea Biotech Limited is an Indian company. ठीक. So that is about dengue disease. Moving ahead with the next disease, that is Nipah virus. Last year we have already seen that there have been several cases in Kerala of Nipah virus being reported, Nipah virus being emerged again. So the districts of Kozhikode, Malappuram and Palakkad have been confirmed. There have been fatalities also, people have died due to infection through Nipah viruses also. What is Nipah virus? It is a zoonotic pathogen. It is first of all viral. It is a zoonotic pathogen that is spread from animals. Which animal? From fruit bats. चमगादड़ से ह्यूमन में फैलता है. So it belongs to Paramyxiviridae family and is known for its high case fatality ranging from 40 to 75%. What you need to remember is that Nipah virus is an again example of a retrovirus. Nipah virus is also again an example of retrovirus. That means it does not have DNA, it is an RNA based virus. The virus can spread through multiple routes. Consumption of contaminated food items such as fruits, palms that have been exposed to the bat. Then we have direct contact with infected animals. Human to human transmission through respiratory droplets, body fluids and exposure in healthcare settings is also possible. So please remember, Nipah virus is a communicable disease. It is a contagious disease. Human to human spreading is also been seen in case of Nipah virus. That was not seen in case of malaria, that was not seen in case of dengue virus, but it is seen in case of Nipah virus. Symptoms, again we see that there is in early symptoms like fever, headache, sore throat is there. Severe symptoms, disorientation, excessive drowsiness, inflammation of the brain is there. Incubation period becomes important. What is incubation period? कि कितने दिन में ये symptoms दिखाई देंगे. So not more than 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks the symptoms will be displayed from 4 to 14 days. ठीक. Reasons for recurrent outbreaks in Kerala. केरला में ऐसा क्या है कि बार बार Nipah virus वहाँ पे emerge होता है. केरला में Western Ghats है. So what happens is there is dense fruit tree cover in Kerala, because of which the population of fruit bats increases. Since the population of fruit bats increases, the fruit bats get infected by the Nipah virus. The monsoon season enhances the food production and the bat activity near residential areas. Expansion into bat habitats. So this is something known as human-animal conflict. This is known as human-animal conflict, in which humans have been, because of urbanization, humans have been entering into the habitats of bats, as a result of which the bats have no option left but to also interfere in the food habits of the humans, causing the spread of Nipah virus. Kerala's robust disease surveillance system enables early detection and rapid containment of outbreaks. The question says about Nipah virus. Nipah virus is a zoonotic pathogen belonging to this family and can be transmitted through contaminated food, infected animals and human to human contact. No problem, first statement is right. Zoonotic के साथ साथ human to human interference भी है. Human to human transmission through respiratory droplets, bodily fluids and exposure in healthcare settings is also an example of spreading of Nipah virus. Second is the incubation period of Nipah virus infection usually exceeds 1 month and the disease is rarely fatal once neurological symptoms appear. This is a wrong statement because it is a fatal disease also, it has a high fatality. The idea is that the Nipah virus has high fatality cases and it does not take 1 month, it takes not more than 2 weeks for showing the symptoms for incubation. Therefore, the second statement is wrong. So which of them is not correct? So 2 is the statement that is not correct. Okay. Okay. Next article talks about Encephalomyocarditis virus. Again, a virus that is affecting the animals. Recently, we have seen that there has been an death of an African elephant in Delhi Zoo, which was affected by again an Encephalomyocarditis virus. Sorry. Myocarditis, that means it is going to affect the heart of the animal. Nature of the virus, EMCV is a small non-enveloped virus. Non-enveloped virus, that means only the genetic material is being present and the genetic material is not protected by a capsid which is going to help in which helps it to survive in extreme conditions. So it is a non-enveloped virus containing single-stranded RNA. Again, that means this is an example of retrovirus. Its disease-causing ability varies depending upon viral strain, host species, making further research essential to understand virulence mechanisms. Associated diseases, the virus can lead to myocarditis, that is inflammation of the health, can cause encephalitis, that is inflammation of the brain, neurological complications, reproductive disorders, and even diabetes in different mammalian species. So if any animal has been found to be infected by such disease, then such other diseases can also occur, that it can have an impact on heart, it can have an impact on brain. Next is about how is it transmitted. It is transmitted by consumption of food, water contaminated with rodent urine, eating rodents such as rats, mice, which are already infected by such diseases, vertical transplacental transmission of pigs. Vertical transplacental transmission of pigs, in which basically transplacental means, so it is basically the IVF for pigs. So when there is fertilization outside the body, but the fertilized is transplanted back into the female pig, in that process the pig may get infected by EMCV virus. Direct pig to pig transmission has not been established. So that is there, from one pig to another pig the virus may not be spreading, but during the transplantation of the zygote or the fertilized egg, there is possibility of EMCV virus. It was first detected in Florida, USA. The first documented case in pigs occurred in Panama in 1958. Since then, virus has spread across globally through different regions across South Asia, America, Australia, everywhere. Question says, with reference to this EMCV virus, consider the following statements. EMCV is a non-enveloped single-stranded RNA virus whose pathogenicity varies depending on the virus strain and host species. No problem. Second statement says, direct transmission of EMCV between pigs has been conclusively documented and is considered the primary route of spreading the disease between the swine population. Direct pig to pig transmission is not established. So the statement says direct transmission of EMCV pigs between different pigs has been conclusively documented. That means it is a wrong statement. So first only one becomes the right answer. Okay. So that is about the different diseases that have been there. This document will always be sickle cell anemia. Yes, sickle cell anemia is there, but sickle cell anemia has been there for quite some time. All these diseases were there that have been there in the news and have not been covered elsewhere. That is why I have tried to cover sickle cell anemia. There is I will just talk quite briefly. So in case of sickle cell anemia, so there is one cell inside your body that is known as RBC. RBC is a circular shaped cell having hemoglobin protein. The responsibility of hemoglobin protein is to carry oxygen from one part to the other. Now the problem is that there is some gene in your DNA which is making this RBC spherical. Which is making this RBC spherical. So there is no problem in the hemoglobin in case of sickle cell anemia. What is the problem is that the gene that is responsible for giving spherical shape to the RBC, that gene becomes mutated, and as a result of the mutation, that gene becomes mutated, and the result of the mutation is that from spherical the shape becomes sickle celled. So instead of the spherical shape, we get a sickle shelled RBC that reduces the concentration of hemoglobin. Since that reduces the concentration of hemoglobin, oxygen is not reaching all the parts of the body equally, which is known as sickle cell disease. One last thing about sickle cell is that there are two types of sickle cell disease. One is sickle cell disorder. Sickle cell disorder means shape. There is problem in the shape. When the shape changes, that is known as sickle cell disorder. Then there is sickle cell crisis, which is extreme form of sickle cell disease, जिसमें there happens to be blood clotting. क्योंकि ये shape ऐसी थोड़ी सी curved हो जाती है, as a result of which it restricts the flow of blood inside the veins and arteries. So the sickle celled RBCs itself will prevent the flow of blood, which will cause blood clotting, which is known as sickle cell crisis. So that is about sickle cell disease. There is this one sickle cell Mukt Bharat, sickle cell anemia Mukt Bharat campaign, in which there are different camps, different steps taken by the government. वो आपको एक बार पढ़ना पड़ेगा. So these were certain important topics that I wanted to cover from disease and health point of view. Tomorrow we will start most probably with space technology and continue with space and defense technology. So that would be all for today. I wish you all the very best. Thank you, and keep studying, keep revising. The document will be shared to you on the groups. Thank you.